Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. So Amber Heard, the interview, we've got quite a lot of snippets of this interview. We're going to watch a fair amount of footage. I don't know quite when it's airing. There's reports it's fully going to air on Friday, but then they're showing a lot of snippets of it now. And interestingly, and also delusionally, because it is delusionally, that's a word, we'll run with it. Amber Heard stated why she's doing the interview now, and I quote, "Johnny Depp's legal team blanketed the media for days after the verdict, with numerous statements and interviews on television, and Depp himself did the same on social media." No, that was your team. Elaine had interviews straight away. It was like 2 weeks later, Johnny Depp's team had interviews. What are you talking about? Are you high? Like, what's going on here? Are we living in it? Well, I know we're living in a clown world, but really? Oh, good God. How on earth can you say that? There was no statements or interviews. What are you talking about? Anyway, the lunacy continues. Ms. Heard simply intended to respond to what they aggressively did last week. She did so by expressing her thoughts and feelings, much of which she was not allowed to do on the witness stand. No, because you'd be lying and perjuring yourself. But let's take a look at this absolute lunacy, clown world nonsense. And those are the statements right there, you know, why she's speaking out. All of these snippets are over on the Today Show Twitter. This is what I mean. Like, they're not, like, here completely, right? They're just on here at, you know, somewhere, basically. So we're just going to go through this. And we're going to play them. And talk about them. There's one which is like 10 minutes long. So please do, you know, hold it, you know, hang in there for this. Hang in there, ladies and gents. And we'll whip this little light on so you can see me in crisp HD. Boom. There we go. Anyway, no, honestly, let's have a look. This is utter nonsense. So here's the first one.
It's been about more than a week since the verdict.
Oh, apparently that's just, you know, cancelling that.
As you sit here with me now, has it sunk in?
How could it? Surreal and difficult, in part, yes. This has been a long time coming.
Do you stand by your testimony and your accusations against Johnny Depp about abuse?
Of course, to my dying day, will stand by every word of my testimony.
It's been about more
You're
than a week
pleb.
since the verdict.
Of course, to your dying day, love. Ah, of course you will. Nice.
Of this trial. I think vast majority of this trial was played out on social media. I think that this trial is an example of that gone haywire, gone amok, and the jury is not immune to that.
You think the jury saw it?
How could they not? I think even the most well-intentioned juror, it would have been impossible to avoid this. I think that...
I mean, you're not doing yourself any favours again, Amber. Do not question the integrity of the jury. It's a real bad look. You look like a dipshit. Oh my God. And the fact that she's like, yeah, I'll stand by it all. I mean, that's not a surprise. Of course she's going to stand by it.
Every single day I passed for 3, 4, sometimes 6 blocks, city blocks lined with people holding signs saying, "Burn the witch," "Death to Amber." After 3.5 weeks, I took the stand and saw just a courtroom packed full of Captain Jack Sparrow fans who were vocal, energized.
Can you put into words how that felt?
This was the most humiliating and horrible thing I've ever been through. I have never felt more removed from my own humanity. I felt less than human. Every single...
Maybe you shouldn't shit on a bed then, idiot. It's not a very human thing to do. Oh my God. Burn. It's humiliating because you did it to yourself. And this commentary about, oh, it played out on social media. You know, the jury definitely saw it and all of this kind of stuff. It was good that it was streamed. Because make no mistake, there's a lot of money being pumped into Amber Heard's like image cleanup. She's trying to clean up her image because she knows that she's fucked, basically. And a lot of this, just if there wasn't the chance for it to be streamed publicly, can you imagine the media spin on this? The fact that we were able to look at it all, dissect it all, and just see it all from our own eyes, that's the real win here. It wouldn't have done it otherwise. It was so important that it was streamed. So important. And the fact that she equates people supporting Johnny Depp to Jack Sparrow fans. I don't fucking care about Jack Sparrow. I bet half the people there didn't care about Jack Sparrow. They were just like, yeah, we don't want this lunatic false accuser like getting away with it. Oh my god.
Back to the day. Let's go back to the day of the verdict. Were you feeling confident?
That's a great question.
It is, Amber, yeah. Should you answer it?
I wish I could say yes to that. I want to say yes to you, but it wouldn't be true.
What?
Even
Why do you want to say yes? Why does it matter whether you were feeling confident you were going to win or not? It doesn't matter. What weird emphasis on all of that. Again, it's this weird, flowery language, nondescript, doesn't really quite make any sense. Exactly what Dr. Curry said.
And if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't tell me, look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
covered this yesterday, and I think absolutely it's been fair, quite frankly.
After the 6-week trial, the jury found Heard defamed Depp in a 2018 Washington Post op-ed in which she wrote she was a public figure representing domestic abuse. She never mentioned her ex-husband by name. Depp denied the abuse allegations in court. Heard won just one of 3 claims in her countersuit against her ex-husband. That verdict came less than 2 years after a judge ruled against Depp in a similar case in the UK, in which he sued a British newspaper that called him a wife-beater.
There was another trial, dealt with the same substantive issues that had even more evidence in.
It didn't have even more evidence in at all. Don't be an idiot.
In fact, my evidence was largely kept out. Really important.
That's because it was garbage. And people have been over this. The judge allowed quite a lot of good stuff that they potentially shouldn't have for you anyway.
Important pieces of evidence kept out.
In fact, there's even more. There's audio recordings on here where you quite literally admit to chopping his finger off. You douche.
Out. Done differently, handled differently by a judge instead of a jury.
Some evidence is admissible in a UK court that is not admissible in a US court. Do you think that maybe he just had better lawyers?
I
And you weren't believable.
will say his lawyers did certainly a better job of distracting the jury from the real issues.
Just the fucking balls on it. His lawyers did a better job of distracting the jury from the issues. Fucking the stones on this woman. The gall.
For some people, they just were frankly disgusted by the whole thing and don't have much sympathy for either one of you. Can you understand that?
Absolutely. I would not blame the average person for looking at this and how it's been covered and not think that it is Hollywood brats at their worst. But what people don't understand is it's actually so much bigger than that. This is not only about our First Amendment right to speak.
For some people,
You had... fucking annoys me so much. You had the right to speak. You have spoken. You keep speaking. No one's stopping you from speaking. But all you're trying to do is stop the consequences of your speech. You absolute prick. What is wrong with you? You're an idiot. God. My First Amendment. You've got it. You've spoken plenty. You won't shut up. I just want to move on. Please let me move on. So moving on.
Here's the thing about the First Amendment. The First Amendment protects free speech. It doesn't protect lies that amount to defamation. And that was the issue in the case.
Yes, exactly. You can't go into, free speech does not protect you if you go into a crowded theater and you scream fire. We get the concept of free speech from the Greeks. My understanding of what that means is not just the freedom to speak. It's a freedom to speak truth to power.
But truth is the word.
Yes.
And that was the issue.
And that's all I spoke. And I spoke it to power, and I paid the price.
Don't even say anything to that. What a dickhead. Oh, what a lunatic. Absolute insanity am I watching. This woman's mental. Like, she's legit mental.
In the closing arguments, the Depp lawyer called your testimony the performance of a lifetime and said you were acting. What do you say to that?
Says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers. I'm the performer. I had listened to weeks of testimony insinuating that, or saying quite directly that, I'm a terrible actress. So I'm a bit confused how I could be both.
Well, you lost, so that's how you could be a terrible actress. You can still give a performance of a lifetime and it be a shit performance. Just of your lifetime out of shit performances. I don't understand this. It says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers. I mean, are you digging on the fact that he played Edward Scissorhands? A bit weird, really, isn't it? Like, no one... I'm confused. What? Says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers. That's not the win you think it is, Amber. You're just showing how dumb you are. And there's this one.
But I am looking at a transcript that he says, you start physical fights, and you say, I did start a physical fight. I can't promise you I won't get physical again. I mean, this is in black and white. I understand context. But you're testifying and you're telling me today, I never started a physical fight, and here you are on tape saying you did.
As I testified on the stand about this, is that when your life is at risk, not only will you take the blame for things that you shouldn't take the blame for, but when you're in an abusive dynamic, psychologically, emotionally, and physically, you don't have the resources that, say, you or I do with the luxury of saying, hey, this is black and white, because it's anything but when you're living in it.
But then there are other times, there's another tape where you're taunting him and saying, oh, tell the world, Johnny Depp, I, a man, am a victim of domestic violence.
20-second clips, or the transcripts of them, are not representative of even the 2 hours or the 3 hours that those clips are excerpt from.
Could your side have just put the whole 3 hours in then?
I'm not a lawyer. As I testified to, I was talking in those recordings as a person in extreme amount of emotional, psychological, and physical distress.
Basically, no, they incriminate me even further. What a psycho.
When I asked his lawyers, why do you think you won? And the answer I got was, because she never took responsibility for anything she did in the marriage.
Yeah.
I did do and say horrible, regrettable things throughout my relationship. I behaved in horrible, almost unrecognizable to myself ways.
Why does she think this is a good idea? Didn't help R. Kelly, didn't help Prince Andrew. You just look. Didn't help Alec Baldwin. These are not good ideas. You need to stay out the limelight. Why? Who's telling her that this is a good idea? Because whoever they are, you're fucking an idiot.
There's so much. I have so much regret. I freely and openly and voluntarily talked about what I did.
No, you didn't.
I talked about the horrible language. I talked about being pushed to the extent where I didn't even know the difference between, right and wrong. I will always...
Sorry, what? Pushed to the limit of not being able to know right from wrong? So you're admitting to hitting him then? What the fuck?
Continue to feel like I was a part of this, like I was the other half of this relationship, because I was. And it was ugly. And could be very beautiful. It was very, very toxic. We were awful to each other. I made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes.
But you admitted to none on the stand, love. So, this is the long one. I think this might be the same thing, but we'll see. If it is, then obviously we'll just cut it there, but there seems to be more, so we'll just see how it goes.
It's been about more than a week since the verdict.
Yeah. Okay, so it's the same exit.
By a judge instead of a jury.
Some evidence is admissible in a UK court that is not admissible in a U.
I could be both. And physically, throughout my relationship, we were awful.
Yeah, it's the same thing. This woman's a psycho, like a genuine psycho schizo. I am consistently amazed. Words fail me. Words absolutely fail me. Like, I'm hunched over. I'm on the edge of my seat. What moronic thing is going to come out of her mouth next? Like, seriously, so strange. So strange. Wow. Wow. What do you say to that? Like, what do you say? It's just, I don't expect anything less. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. This is gold. I can't wait for the full interview on Friday. I'm going to love it. We're going to sit down, we're going to break it down. Gold. Comedy gold. She's nuts. She's absolutely nuts. Living in an absolute fabricated reality. All of her own making. Schizo. For lack of a better word. Words literally fail me. Let me know what you think down below. Cheers. Also, ladies and gentlemen, consider checking out my Teespring store. Supporting the channel via this way does go a long way. But also, not only that, you do get to wear some awesome merch. These are one-of-a-kind designs designed for me by my graphic designer. We, of course, have our Clown World line, which is in mugs, hoodies, t-shirts. We've got Space Jeebus. And then for something a little bit different, we, of course, have right down at the bottom right here, we have our Pulsar GTIR. Also, ladies and gentlemen, consider checking out and supporting my second channel, which is Car Nonsense. This is a vlog and car channel. You can find links to this in the description box, along with my Teespring. Please do consider supporting.